What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm your host Mike, and today I'm going to bring you 3 risers and 3 fallers in the mid part of this season. Now, we aren't necessarily looking straight at their ADP, but we are looking at their play over the last few months. As you'll see, these players have either been really good over the last few months or really bad. Guys, before we jump into this video, if you enjoy the content, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. Only 30% of our viewers right now are subscribed to the channel. It helps so much and only takes a second. And before we jump into this video, make sure you take a second to listen to our video sponsor. Introducing the new sponsor to our channel, we're talking about a brand new daily fantasy props app, ThriveFantasy. Use code FP100 and receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 and 2 free $20 contest tickets. That's code FP100, receive a 100% deposit match and 2 free contests. The first riser that I want to talk about for this video is Bryan Rust of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, Rust has had a really tough season. He's been on and off injury. He's been in and out of COVID protocol, but he's now healthy and is dominating the NHL. If you've held Rust through this rough patch, you are reaping the benefits. Since January 1st, Rust ranks second in the NHL for points with 25 points in just 13 games, including 49 shots. Yes, his shooting percentage is a little high, but I think that's indicative of his play. The Penguins are one of the hottest teams in the NHL offensively right now. He's on a line with Jake Guentzel and Sidney Crosby, who you all know we really like here at FP. That power play has been exceptional with the return of Malkin. Rust's current hot streak is enough to rank him as a top 40 forward depending on your league size. His 10.9 shots per 60 is a career high for him. His goals, assists, and points per 60 rates are all at career highs. And of course, his current minutes are also at a career high. This seems to be the year for Bryan Rust and maybe even the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fantasy owners that have held on to him, good job. Fantasy owners that are looking to acquire a top forward, I think Bryan Rust is your guy. The next riser for this video is Trevor Moore of the LA Kings. Someone that's definitely not as big of a name as Bryan Rust is, but Trevor Moore's midseason surgence is definitely something we want to take note of. In his last 15 games since January 1st, Trevor Moore has 4 goals and 14 assists, enough to give him 18 points, while adding 43 shots. His minutes are up significantly, up over 17, a little bit under 18 per night, from 13 earlier in the season. His start of the season was terrible. He had just 5 points in his first 32 games, but he's really picked it up and has become a fantasy relevant player. Now, I just want to note how crazy Trevor Moore's January was. 16 points in 14 games, including a plus 15 rating. The Kings aren't really a good team. I think they're just contending for a playoff spot at this point. And Trevor Moore's surgence has really been a surprise to myself and almost everyone that has added him on free agency. Now, he may be available in your league. I think for 12-team leagues, you're able to add him. But in 10-team leagues, he's probably still a waiver wire pickup. Nevertheless, moving forward, Trevor Moore, definitely a riser, someone that's cracked the top 100 and should be on your watch list immediately. Moving on to the last riser of this video, we have defenseman Jacob Trouba of the New York Rangers. Trouba is a Bangers League beast, and he's been a beast all season. In 47 games, he has 24 points, 127 shots, 109 hits, and 131 blocks, on pace to crush all of his career highs. These are numbers for defensemen that you see in 82 games, and he's done it in just 47. Since January 1st for defensemen, not only has Trouba put up 12 points, but he also ranks 4th for shots, 5th for blocks, and 9th for hits. He is a peripheral machine, as only one of 2 defensemen to record at least 35 shots, 35 hits, and 35 blocks for defensemen since January 1st. Now, can we expect some regression? I would say yes. The absence of Adam Fox has definitely helped him out quite a bit, but his minutes are up over 15% this season. He's 27 years old, so he's now entering his prime. But I really have no justification for you trying to move Trouba. He's now solidified himself as likely a top 5D depending on your league. If it's a points league, he's definitely not, but for most Bangers leagues, Jacob Trouba is a top 5 defenseman. We're now jumping over to the faller side of the video. We're starting off with defenseman Tyson Barrie of the Edmonton Oilers. It has been an absolutely horrific season for Barrie this year. Since December 1st in 18 games, he has 0 goals, 5 assists, 36 shots, 16 blocks, and 9 hits. He's playing under 20 minutes per night and is literally not contributing to any category. Barrie is now contending with Evan Bouchard for that power play 1 spot, which is where he is likely to produce the most points. With Barrie off power play 1 right now and playing third pairing, there's really no fantasy relevance for him anymore. At this point, Barrie is basically droppable. It's crazy to think that his preseason ranking was 62 and was being drafted in the 5th round. I actually kept him in a league, and I've already dropped him to this point. If you're in a 16-team league or more, you can probably hold on to him. But with him off power play 1 and the first pairing, he has 0 fantasy relevance, and he is one of the biggest fallers this season. The next faller for this video is Oliver Bjorkstrand of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, it pains me to talk about him because I'm definitely a big Bjorkstrand fan. I did draft him in 2 leagues, but at this point, he's become a drop. Since January 1st, in 14 games, he has just 3 goals, 3 assists, 26 shots, 7 blocks, and 23 hits. His shot volume's down significantly, and that's something we really liked him for. At one point in the season, Bjorkstrand got really hot and was likely a top 100 player in your league, but at this point, he's falling very fast and is probably outside of the top 200. Again, it really depends on your scoring. If you're in a 14-team league or more, especially without plus minus, you can definitely hold on to Bjorkstrand. But at this point, he's very droppable in 12-team leagues. He's just not contributing offensively, which is why you drafted him, and his plus minus is going to hurt you significantly. The last faller for this video is Connor Hellebuyck of the Winnipeg Jets. Hellebuyck, a former Vezina candidate, and he's been a Vezina candidate for the last few years, has struggled immensely since December 1st. In 19 games, he hosts an 8.92 record, just a 908 save percentage, and over a 3 goals against average. You drafted Hellebuyck knowing that Winnipeg's defense would be pretty bad. He's going to face a bunch of shots, but his recent stretch is something to keep note of. Since Paul Maurice left the team, they've been really bad, and Nikolai Ehlers has been hurt for a long period of time. Now, you can't really blame Hellebuyck. He's a goalie that usually faces the most shots in the league year after year, but at this point, he's definitely still ownable, but proceed with caution with him. I would say typically Hellebuyck sits around the top 5 goalie mark for your fantasy leagues, but at this point he's definitely fallen out of the top 10 and is likely hurting your team more than benefiting your team. But definitely still hold on to him. He's a starting goalie that gets a bunch of volume. Hopefully Winnipeg can turn it around. I find his stats are very dependent on the team in front of him. If they can figure out their defensive woes, they're going to be a very good team in the second half. But for now, Hellebuyck has been one of the biggest goaltender fallers over the last 2 months. That'll do it for a Risers and Fallers video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.